Okay, today we are going to learn how to take off an airplane. I have positioned this on the Sanford Airport, and the first thing we're going to see that you can see here is the flight deck. And we make sure both our engines are running. Of course, we are standing up to the runway. Here is a spot plane. I'm slowly going to increase power and at full power. As the power increases, the airspeed is going to come alive. We're going to use right rudder to keep the aircraft on the center line to counteract the left turning tendencies of the aircraft. At 65 knots, which is right about here, we're slowly going to pitch the aircraft at about 1 degree per second to the 10-degree mark, which is right here. That's going to give us about 1,000 feet per minute climb that you can see right here. Now, the takeoff phase is going to continue all the way up until we are out of ground effect and above at least 1,000 feet AGL. As you can tell, right now we are 440, 60, 80, and 500 feet. Now, as you see, at 700 feet, which is right above here, we're going to make a left-hand turn to stay in the pattern. We're going to make a 90-degree turn while continuing the climb, and I'm going to roll out on a heading of 180. Sorry, not 0, but just 180, the heading of south. I'm going to continue to climb. As the aircraft is coming to 1,000 feet, you can see it behind us. The runway is coming behind us. Let me trim the aircraft a little bit. There's the runway behind us. We're going to go up. And I'm just looking at the visual references. This is a Sanford Airport. At 1,000 feet, which is going to be our cruise altitude, we're going to level off. I'm going to bring the power back to just about 2,300 RPMs. I'm going to trim the excess pressures off, and I'm going to make sure that we are in a straight and level flight, which is on the horizon, and slightly. Right now I'm losing about 100 feet per minute. So I'm going to pitch up slightly and retrim for the pressures off and get my 40 feet back. Okay, that's enough for the crosswind. Going to go ahead and turn left into the downwind, and at that point our runway should be to our left. It's critical to maintain the positive attitude just 3 finger lengths below the horizon, and I'm controlling my bank while turning. This is Lake Jesup for those of you that live here. The island in the center is a good reference point. We flew out into an extended crosswind, but we can fix that for the purposes of this video. Anyways, here we roll out again to the heading of east, and I'm losing about 40 feet. So I'm going to correct by pitching the nose up slightly, gaining my altitude back, and then letting the aircraft settle again. It's very important for small, smooth corrections. There it is. Maybe I'll add 100 feet more to counteract the drag and keep ourselves centered. Looks like maybe a little bit more back pressure as well. Okay, this is my midfield downwind point. I know that because of the visual references. I'm going to do the before landing checklist. I'm also going to call tower. Sanford Tower, Golf, Bravo, Alpha, Foxtrot, Mike, midfield, left downwind, request landing, full stop. I'm going to correct my altitude as I gained 100 feet. Also going to start doing my before landing check. Fuel on boat. Mixture full rich. Landing lights on. Okay. Now I'm just looking to see where the runway is. Okay, I gained quite a bit of altitude there. Okay, airspeed less than 100 knots. Going to introduce the first notch of flaps. Also reduce the power to 1700 RPMs. You can see I'm descending about 500 feet per minute. My airspeed is 90 knots. And pitch for airspeed, power for altitude. So I'm adding power now to reduce the rate of decrease. Okay, there's my 45-degree angle. This is the base leg. They're heading up north. And on my base leg, I can tell that I'm pretty decently positioned, so I'm going to give it 20 degrees of flaps. Again, the airplane's nose wants to come up, continuing that turn to heading on north, descending at about 480 to 500 feet per minute. Still keeping 90 knots. And there's our runway with those red lights. So we are positioned quite nicely. As you can see, there's a grass strip just on the bottom of the left side too. So in case I have an engine failure, I have a way as well to land my airplane. My speed, like you can see, is just in the green arc. In the white arc. 85 knots is what I really want on base. Now we haven't put the final set of flaps because we are not established on final yet. My airspeed still. Again, pitch for airspeed, power for altitude. So as you see, as I pull the power, we're going to start descending, but we also increase our airspeed. So pitch for airspeed, so pitch the nose up, and just power for altitude. These are the basics of every single maneuver. And as I'm coming up to lining up to my runway, we turn to a line. We're heading off west. And our runway should be right in front of us. And there it is. We flew a little bit past our runway, so we'll adjust our course. I'll tell you, it's kind of hard to record this video and not even know the quality of it. But either way, as you can tell, I'm keeping above 500 feet while I align myself to the runway. And there is our runway coming up into the fashion. Now I'm still not giving myself enough because all four of those red means we are low. We're looking for wide over red, and as you can tell on my vertical speed indicator, which is right there, I'm starting to see white and red. And I'm going to give myself the final set of flaps as the aircraft comes into position to land. 2 whites over 2 red. Pitch for airspeed. So I'm at 75 knots. I need to lose 10 knots. And I'm coming in to land. And there's a 3-degree glide slope. As you can tell, this is 3 degrees off. I'm descending at about 500 feet per minute, and I have planted in the middle of my screen the numbers, and that's my aim point. Now I'm still a little bit fast, so I'm going to pitch the nose up just 1 degree and power just a little bit. And there is my speed. Now I'm going to trim up nose up to take the excess pressures off. I'm still 2 wide over 2 red. I'm maintaining the runway center line. I'm moving slightly to the left. In the air, we use rudder to maintain longitudinal path. And that's the left rudder. So for those of you that are getting sick watching the video, I'm sorry. There I'm a little too high. So pitch for airspeed and power for altitude. I'm full high, so I have made the runway now. I am just the glider. Power is to flight idle. And there I'm back on the center line. I'm back on. As I come into ground effect, I touch down on the center line. I apply brakes, skid a little bit, and I come to a full stop. While not the prettiest of landing, it worked. And that's our lesson for today.